Um, so today I want to talk about the embarrassment that comes with addiction. Um, as most of you know, my addiction started with pain pills, and I think when you have an addiction that starts with a prescription from a doctor, it's a little different than your typical, meth or crack or coke or any of those addictions. Not saying one's better than the other, just saying it starts a little bit more innocently. You don't start out with pain pills, buying them, behind the Circle K at, 11 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock in the morning, or, this starts very innocently. You go to a doctor, you get what you're told to take. You're taught from a very young age that you take what the doctor tells you. And so this pattern starts to form, and next thing you know, you've got a physical addiction to a chemical that your body is required to have in it for you to function properly. And there's a lot of concern that comes with that. There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of unknown, there's a lot of questions, there's just a lot that comes with it. But one of the biggest things that comes with this is an embarrassment. There's a stigma with the word addict, and I don't like that stigma. I think that the way we look at addicts is completely wrong. I don't look at addiction as a disease, and I know that irritates a lot of people, and I'm sorry, call it whatever you want to call it, just as long as you're walking through it, more power to you. I just think chalking it up as a disease is a cop-out. It's an easy way out. I look at it that there's some people a lot more susceptible to addiction than others, but calling it a disease just seems like an easy way out. I made a lot of poor choices to become an addict. I've got a very addictive personality. Don't think it's a disease. I actually think it's a blessing. I think that thing that pushes me, now that I've done the work on myself, understand myself, I fully understand how my head works, how Kyle works, who Kyle is. Now that I've done that, I can take this thing I have and point it in a good direction. There's not anything that's going to stop me. And that's the same with every single addict in the world. We all have something in us that just pushes us, that we come up with angles and plays and can do things that wouldn't cross normal people's heads. I don't think there's that big of a difference from your elite athletes, your superstar performers, your people functioning at the highest level. I don't think there's that big of a difference between an addict and those people. I truly don't. Might be nuts, that's fine, but I truly don't think there's that big of a difference between them. I think that person has channeled that addictive tendency into something good. I think people in active addiction can learn to do the same thing. It takes some work, takes some effort. It's not the easy thing to do. It's probably the hardest thing you will ever do in your entire life, but it's definitely doable. It's definitely doable. I wish I knew how doable it was years ago. I wish I knew how much better it feels to not be dependent on those things, to not even have those things in your life at all, but live and learn. So the purpose of me doing this is I want to eliminate that stigma, that embarrassment that comes with addiction. When your addiction starts with a pain pill and you're questioning how you ended up addicted to a prescription from a doctor, well, these things were designed to be addictive. Do some research, look into Purdue Pharma, look into the Sackler family, look at how Richard Sackler navigated this through the FDA, how he taught his salespeople to pitch this to doctors, the studies that they did to show this wasn't addictive, how they came to the conclusion that these weren't addictive, all the bullshit that they did to fast pass these things with the FDA and get these to the market. All the while knowing how addictive these things are, the hell that these will bring into people's lives, and they didn't care. But look into it. These things were designed to get you hooked on them. That's what they were designed to do. So the fact that you're addicted to them doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means that you were putting something in your body that your body liked and your body formed a need for. Pain pills rewire how your brain works. Pain pills rewire your body chemistry. They change you. I truly believe those things are from the devil. But if you have an addiction, and whether you're on heroin now or you're still using pain pills, 80% of heroin users at some point started with a prescription pain pill. Let that sink in for a minute. 8 out of 10 people who do heroin, okay, most heroin users injected, they started with a prescription from a doctor. That's insane to me. That just shows you how addictive these things are, okay? So the fact that you're addicted doesn't mean there's something wrong with you, okay? Did you make some poor choices? Did you abuse this stuff? Did you do a lot of dumb shit? Absolutely, I'm sure you did. But there's not anything wrong with you. There's not anything to be embarrassed about. What you need to be embarrassed about is continuing on the path of active addiction. That's what you need to be embarrassed about, throwing your whole life away. That's something to be embarrassed about. Not coming to the conclusion that you're an addict and that you're going to do the work to fix it. There's nothing to be embarrassed about that. That takes a real set of balls. So with that said, if you or anybody you know is struggling with opiate addiction or any kind of addiction, please reach out. Let me know. The fact that there are millions of people in that place that I spent so many years, that place of active addiction, that place of embarrassment, that place of wondering how you got there, is there something wrong with you, not wanting anybody to know anything. I spent years and years and years there, and it kills me that there's people in that same position. So please, if you or anybody you know is in that spot, please reach out. Message me. Any of my social medias, my personal one, Kyle.Stark01, Facebook and Instagram. There's the Power Over Pills site, poweroverpills.com, Power Over Pills on Facebook and Instagram. I believe all of them have contact information on there. You can call my cell phone, you can email me, you can private message me. I get that reaching out in a public setting, there's a little bit of embarrassment with that. I completely understand that. So private message me. Do whatever you need to do, but reach out. Let's get you going. Let's fix this. But you need to understand there isn't anything wrong with you. There's not anything to be embarrassed about. The fact that you're an addict is actually a beautiful thing. It truly is, and I know that some people think I'm insane for saying that, but that gift, that drive you have in you is truly a blessing. You just have to do the work on yourself, understand yourself, and heal yourself, and then you can point that blessing in a good direction. You can use it for good. Right now, you're just using it to your own demise. And it can be done. I'm living proof of that. Not saying I have everything figured out, but the person I am today and the person I was for over a decade while I was in active addiction are so different, night and day different. I look back at some of the things I did and said and the way I treated people and just the person I was, and it's embarrassing, it's humiliating, it's very humbling, just what a piece of shit those things make you become. You're not you when you're on those. You're not you. So the fact that so many people have an issue and they're embarrassed to come forward with it or embarrassed to reach out for help, it breaks my heart. I want to end that embarrassment. I want to end that stigma that there's something wrong with you if you're an addict. There's not anything wrong with you. You've got this amazing power inside you. You're just using it in a very bad way right now. You can use it for good. I promise you can use it for good. I promise you can turn your life around. You can fix things. You can change things. You can be on the other side of this and looking back at it going, oh wow, look how far I've come. I promise you can do that. Take some work, take some dedication, take some commitment, but it can be done. I wish I could give somebody in active addiction a glimpse into my head right now and a glimpse into my head when I was an active addict. Just a 30-second glimpse. It would be all the motivation people need, I promise, but I can't do that. Being in active addiction, walking through that is something you have to want to do for you. Only an addict can come out of their own addiction. You can't bribe them, coerce them, scare them, intimidate them. You can't do anything to an addict who's not ready. You just can't. Again, part of the superpower of being an addict. So there's a lot of levels to this thing, but the first one I want to start cracking is the embarrassment. The stigma that an addict, there's something wrong with you, the stigma that addiction is a disease, the stigma that, a sober day is a good day and that's all you have to do for the rest of your life. That's all bullshit. Those are all cop-outs. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. You have something special in you. You need to point it in a good direction. You need to do the work on yourself that's required to fix this. And you need to stop coming up with excuses, and you need to own where you're at in life. Once you do that, you can start implementing changes to get your arms back in control of everything around you. But at this point, the first step is acknowledgement. The first step is getting over the fear. The first step is owning where you're at and understanding that it's going to take some work, but that you don't want to stay where you are. That's the first step in this whole thing. So if you're not reaching out for help or doing anything because you're embarrassed, please don't. You have nothing to be embarrassed about. You really don't. There's not anything for you to be embarrassed about. Some of the choices and things you do when you're an active addict, yeah, there's certainly embarrassment that comes with that, and it's deserved. But the fact that you're an addict doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. Doesn't give you anything to be embarrassed about. In fact, I truly believe reaching out for help, bringing your demons to the front of the class for everybody to see, that's where the power's at. There's nothing to be embarrassed about with doing that. There's only a pride for you to feel when you do that. And again, I truly believe that every addict has something special in them. And my goal is to have the world full of all these active addicts that are clean, that are sober, that have done the work on themselves to heal and are taking that thing they have in them and pointing it in a good direction. Just imagine how much good we could do if everybody in the world was looking at it that way. Every addict in the world realized he had something special in him and he just needed to point it in a different direction and do the work, and that there's not anything that could stop him, especially in the world we're in today. These crazy times with everything that is going on. People are scared. We don't need any more negativity. We don't need any more bad. We just need good. So please, if you or anybody you know is stuck in that active addiction, reach out. Let them know that you're there for them, that I'm here for them. I will do anything in my power to help anybody in that position. And don't judge people. You don't know what somebody else is going through, whether it's addiction or all this craziness in the world right now. There's a lot on a lot of people's heads right now, a lot on a lot of people's hearts right now. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people don't know what the future is going to hold. None of us know what the future is going to hold. These are scary times. These are trying times. So just go out of your way to do something nice for somebody today. Be positive. Stop with this negativity. And if you are an addict, understand this. You have nothing to be embarrassed about. You being an addict might be the worst thing in your life right now, but I promise you that same thing inside you that's your demise or that's killing you right now, someday could be the best thing you have, could be your go-to. It's this little thing inside you that just pushes you. When other people want to stop, you don't stop. When other people say there's not a way, you know there's a way. When other people can't figure out an angle, you come up with the angle. That's what addicts do. Watch an addict in active addiction and watch how he will not be denied. You can do that same thing and be that same force, but in a positive way, once you understand what you're dealing with and get over the embarrassment of being in active addiction. Not anything to be embarrassed about, I promise you. There's not.